It's Wednesday night. I just want to apologize ahead of time because I have the beginnings of a migraine. So, I don't have the pain yet, but my eyes are all. So, anyhow, just want to let you know how my day went. I do 16/8 intermittent fasting, so breakfast was coffee. Lunch was probably not the best, but I eat at work, and lunch at the most expensive is $1. So I eat lunch there versus making it myself because it saves money. But the choice that I made today was fried shrimp, which was really good, and cocktail sauce, which was also really good. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to have the french fries. I'll have some broccoli, some steamed broccoli. And the broccoli was okay, but I didn't eat as much of it as I normally would have just because I wasn't real wild about it. But anyhow, I had that, and then I came home and I was craving. Let's rewind a little bit. At lunchtime too, I started to crave ice cream because they have an ice cream machine there. It's free. And I just kept going, I could really go for some ice cream right now, like really go for some ice cream. And I just kept saying, I don't need it. Like, do you really want to go over 200? And I just kept that in my mind. Do you really want to go over 200? Because that's what's going to happen if you eat that ice cream. And so I didn't do it. But I ended up, I went back to my desk and I walked past one of my coworkers' desks, and they always have a bowl of candy. And they have the little Hershey minis, and I love the dark chocolate. And I was like, I could have one of those. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, or I could have 0 of those and maybe just go sit down at my desk and have some water and stop thinking about stupid chocolate. So I went back to my desk and I was like, okay, if I'm still craving this in an hour, I'll go have it. Well, in an hour, I forgot about it. So, like, I keep giving myself permission to be naughty or whatever, but then I don't end up doing it. But I put, like, such a parameter on it that I'm telling myself I can have it, I just can't have it right now, so that I get out of the mindset of instant gratification. And when I give myself permission, I'm much less likely to indulge on it because it's more fun to be rebellious. So if I'm telling myself, oh, you can't have that, literally the only thing I will think in my head for until I do it is, you know you want to do it. You know you want to do it. Wouldn't that just taste amazing? Wouldn't that just feel amazing? You should just do it. And it will just play like that inside my head until I finally give in. So what I found is I give myself permission to do it. However, I do put some type of rule on it that might make it less desirable. So, yeah. So I did not give in this afternoon. However, this evening when I got home, I walked past that stupid container of Oreo cookies that I bought so my grandkids could have. And I had 2, which, yes, it's not ideal. However, typically I have like 5 or 6, so 2 isn't bad. So again, gotta give myself a break because I could have had 5 or 6. I only had 2. And it's just dumb little things like that you have to do to yourself to keep that positive mindset. And it's like, okay, yes, I indulged. It wasn't perfect, but I made progress because I didn't do the thing that I typically would do. And when you stop beating yourself up all the time, you don't have the guilt. When you don't have the guilt, you don't feed your guilt with food, which is what a lot of people do. And I see it all the time. I follow probably 6 or 7 different fitness blogs and vlogs, and every single one has a common theme they feel guilty, they mess up their perfect little routine, and then they feel like a failure. So what's the point of trying? And then they quit. And then they indulge. And they take it too far because, what's the point? You're just going to screw it up anyways. And we have got to get out of that kind of mentality. You've got to start thinking more positively, like, okay, yes, I had 2 cookies, but I didn't have 5 or 6 like I used to. That's progress. That is huge progress, because I used to binge the whole container. And then I finally moved down to like 5 or 6. And now I'm down to 1 or 2 when I do have a little binge or whatever, So you got to take the progress where you can get it. Because I'll tell you what, every little bit brings you to something better each time. And it leaves you with a more positive feeling too. And when you're feeling positive, do you feel like binging? Do you feel like overindulging? No, you don't. And so many of us just don't seem to grasp that. And so many times when I look at these blogs, I just want to shake the person that's talking and say, look, you've been eating wonderful all week. You screwed up one time. And you really didn't even do that bad. But you started letting the guilt get to you, and the more you felt guilty, then you ended up binging the whole package, where you could have just said, you know what, I'm gonna have this. However, either I'm gonna delay the time that I eat it, I'm gonna eat it an hour from now if I still want it. Or say, yes, I can have it, but I'm only gonna have this much. And have it in your mind already that that's what you're going to do, versus, just mindlessly walking in there, grabbing something off the shelf and start shoving it in your face, because that's what you want to do. And, once I started doing that, my binges have significantly decreased. I mean, it's not to say it's perfect, but having that positive mindset that I'm not a failure just because I eat like a normal human being. And that's the other thing too that I see on a lot of these things. You see these beautiful little super healthy like vegan meals or whatever, and the perfect portions of protein and carbs and vegetables, whatever. But it's not sustainable, because that's not how normal people eat 24/7. Normal people go out to eat. They just don't go out to eat umpteen times a week. Normal people have cookies. They just don't eat the entire package in one sitting. So you've got to stop beating yourself up because, oh, I had McDonald's this week. Oh my God, I'm a failure. Now my diet plan is completely screwed. No, it's not. You ate like a human being one night. You're not going to do it every night. At least I hope not. If you do, then that's something you need to maybe work on. But killing yourself over the fact that you went to McDonald's like a normal human being, that's what puts you in failure mode, and that's what makes you quit your diet plan, because you spend your whole time beating yourself up over the fact that you had McDonald's. So what? You had freaking McDonald's. You know how many people, I'm sure Jillian Michaels or whatever the heck her name is, I'm sure she goes out and has McDonald's once in a while, but she don't eat it every day. You are allowed to indulge once in a while. And that's the thing. You treat these things as a treat versus something that you do all the time, or use it as an excuse because you're too lazy to cook for yourself all the time. But you know what? Your kids are in sports sometimes and you ain't got time to cook. You didn't think through. You got so many things going on. You don't have time to make a meal plan all the time because you have a life, because you're busy. And sometimes you gotta just do something on the fly. And yes, sometimes McDonald's is easier. But if you're gonna do that, have a plan in place for, okay, if we go to McDonald's, this is what we're gonna have. Start being mindful, okay, if I have to do something this way, if my schedule or my hectic life forces me to do something this way, here's what I'm going to do when it does happen. So you're already mindful of what you're going to do. Instead of just mindlessly, I'm just gonna grab this off the menu and I think I'm gonna have a Big Mac today. No, maybe you already planned, say, okay, if I am gonna go to McDonald's, this is all I'm having. Period. Have in mind what you're going to do. Start thinking about these things and head off the problem before it ever happens. You're going to be so much happier and you're going to have such better results, I think. I noticed that the people who are the most successful allow themselves to fail. I don't know. People just got to get out of this failure mindset. People, they've got to stop beating themselves up and stop being so hard on themselves. You're human. You're not God and you're not perfect. You've got to just, accept that, okay, yeah, so I had this, I'll eat better, on my next meal. I'll do better. Or maybe next time I go to this restaurant, I'm going to make a better choice. This is what I'm going to have next time I go. And have a plan in place already so that you don't have that guilt anymore. You're like, okay, so I went to McDonald's and I had this. Big deal. There are healthy options at almost every fast food restaurant now because of, the new healthy living movements and stuff that are going on. So you've got no excuses for what you do. But, even if you do happen to say, okay, I really want a Big Mac today. Haven't had a Big Mac in 2 months or however long. Okay, I'm going to have a Big Mac today. Not going to have it every day. Not going to have it every week. But today, having a Big Mac. It is what it is. I used to eat Big Macs all the time when I was skinny. I didn't have them all the time like I do, or I don't want to say I do now because I haven't done it in a really long time. But when I was at my fattest, I was eating Big Macs all the time. I was eating Whoppers all the time, but when I was skinnier, it was a treat versus something that I did on any kind of regular basis. And, sometimes you do have to treat yourself and enjoy and savor those moments versus making it part of your daily life or even part of your weekly life. I did that with my soda drinking. I went from drinking soda 3 to 4 times a day to the point where my teeth started rotting because I was drinking so much pop. And versus taking pop out of the equation altogether, which was hell on my head. My head was about ready to explode from the caffeine withdrawal. But I said, okay, I'm going to have pop because I like pop. I really like it. It's one of my favorite things to have to drink. So I started just having it once a day. And then after a couple weeks, then I was like, I can have it less often. And I just kept replacing it with water. And because I needed to up my water intake. And so then I finally had it in my head, okay, instead of having it even once a day, I'm only going to have it when I go out to eat. How often do I go out to eat? Once, maybe twice in a weekend It's almost always on a weekend day. I don't want to say it's always on a weekend day, but why not have soda once or twice a week versus every single day? That's a huge savings in calories. It's not as much caffeine, not as much sugar. It does have its health benefits, but you can still enjoy a soda. You just don't have to enjoy it every day. Make it a treat. Make it something special that you can actually savor and enjoy. And a lot of times, once you start doing that and it's something that you don't have very often, a lot of times you don't crave it as much anymore either. They are very addictive, be it physically addictive or just mentally addictive. For me, sugary things just make me crave more sugary things. So cutting back on those things is to my benefit, because then I won't be craving it as much, which means I won't be eating so much anymore either. But yeah, rather than tell myself, no, you can't have pop anymore, pop is off the menu, that's ridiculous, and it's not realistic. It's not sustainable. And you're going to hear that in a lot of my future vlogs, because so many diets fail, I feel, because what they're doing isn't sustainable. It's not sustainable to drink a shake every day. It's not sustainable to take umpteen thousand vitamins and supplements and this and that, and it's just not sustainable. You can do it for a little while, and yeah, you'll be successful at it, I'm sure, but it's not sustainable, and it's boring, and it tastes like crap sometimes too. And we try to convince ourselves, this is great, it's so tasty, and it's not. And after a while, you're like, God, if I have one more of these things, I'm going to puke. I'm going to absolutely puke. And then all of a sudden, you're not drinking them so much anymore. And then you're not sticking to your plan anymore. It's not sustainable. You have to eat like a normal human being. You just have to figure out how to do that in a way that fits your lifestyle, and try to make the healthiest choices you can as often as you can. But no human being on this planet can make that choice 24/7. They can't. I don't know any person in the universe that can. So if you have mastered it and have done it for years and years and years, go ahead and make a comment, because I would love to hear about it. But I guarantee you, you have cookies sometimes, you have pop sometimes, unless you have some medical condition that prevents you from being able to have it, like a allergy or something. But I guarantee you otherwise, you have one once in a while. No matter how skinny you are, no matter how healthy or fit, whatever you are, you still do that. Be realistic. So that's all I'm asking you guys to do today. Be realistic about your choices. Stop beating yourself up. Think more positively. Look at the progress you're making versus the failures you're making. Because dwelling on your failures is only going to make you feel guilty and do that vicious circle that we all are familiar with. So anyhow, that's my rant for today. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do. But have a great day, and be positive.